Hello and welcome to Daily News Simplified, the what, why and how of newspaper reading from UPSC Civil Services examination perspective. And these are the list of news for today's discussion dated 11th March 2023. Now as you all know that the second pre-parikshan test has been announced and it has been scheduled on 18th and 19th March 2023 both in an online and offline manner. Now if you have not registered yourself, go to rawias.com and register yourself and do appear for this very important pre-parikshan test which is to be conducted on 18th and 19th March both in an online manner and also in an offline manner. So what are you waiting for? Register yourself and check your preparation level, which is so important before the very important prelims examination. Now let's start our discussion with these two important news appearing in the editorial section on page number 6 and on page number 8. And these two news highlights very important aspects regarding the regulation of cryptocurrencies or virtual digital assets. And for this particular purpose, the Ministry of Finance has notified amendment under the Prevention of Money Laundering Act to strengthen the regulatory purview over cryptocurrencies and over virtual digital assets. Now this particular news on page number 8 says that government amends KYC, that is Know Your Customer norms, to add NPOs, that is non-profit organization, and politically exposed persons, and in this regard has also explained politically exposed persons and non-profit organizations through rules notified under the Prevention of Money Laundering Act. So this news says that according to the notification, the PEPs, that is politically exposed persons, will have to report transactions of rupees 10 lakh and above. Now both these news are related and it deals with strengthening the regulatory purview with respect to transaction of cryptocurrencies or other virtual digital assets. And these transactions along with their administration and safekeeping have to be reported to the reporting entities according to the PMLA, that is as per the Prevention of Money Laundering Act. Now under the Prevention of Money Laundering Act, it defines reporting entity as any banking company, any financial institution, intermediary or a person carrying on a designated business or profession. And Chapter 4 of this particular act provides for obligations of these banking companies or financial institutions and other intermediaries. So Section 12 mentions about reporting entity to maintain record. So it says that every reporting entity, that is these institutions, shall maintain a record of all transactions including information relating to transactions covered under Clause B. And these transactions shall be recorded so as to reconstruct individual transactions. Further, the reporting entity is supposed to furnish to the director under the central government within such time information relating to such transaction, whether attempted or executed, the nature and value of which may be prescribed. Further, the reporting entity shall maintain record of documents evidencing identity of its clients and beneficial owners, as well as account files and business correspondence relating to its clients. The provision further says that every information maintained by the reporting entity shall be furnished or verified under any law for the time being in force and shall be kept confidential. Further, the records which has been mentioned here shall be maintained for a period of 5 years from the date of transaction between a client and the reporting entity. And it further says that these records shall be maintained for a period of 5 years after the business relationship between a client and the reporting entity has ended or the account has been closed, whichever is later. So these are some of the important highlights with respect to the reporting entity. Now this particular news becomes important from the perspective of GS paper 3 under security, as the syllabus also mentions about money laundering and its prevention. Now look into this question asked in the mains of 2021. The question is, discuss how emerging technologies and globalization contribute to money laundering. Elaborate the measures to tackle the problem of money laundering both at national level and also at international level. And this question was a 10-marker question asked in the mains of 2021. So given the nature of question asked by UPSC on this aspect of, money laundering and emerging technologies and globalization contributing to money laundering, and cryptocurrencies and virtual digital assets have been in greater use by terrorist and criminal organizations with respect to money laundering. And in this regard, even the FATF, that is Financial Action Task Force, had flagged increased transaction in virtual digital assets by criminal and terrorists. And the FATF had also suggested that these criminal organizations and terrorists often exploit loopholes within the legal systems of a country, especially because of non-regulation of VDAs, that is virtual digital assets, including cryptocurrencies. Now, if we look at this global scenario, especially post-COVID, we have seen resurgence or increase in advertisement of cryptocurrencies and also usage of cryptocurrencies. And according to a 2021 report, cryptocurrencies usage is maximum or most in India. And because of these increased usage and transactions in cryptocurrencies, it is important that the government provides regulations to regulate such transaction in cryptocurrencies and also virtual digital assets. So the government, through this amendment under the Prevention of Money Laundering Act, aims to regulate this particular aspect of transactions in any virtual digital assets, including cryptocurrencies, and also regulate their administration and also safekeeping. And for this purpose, the government has also notified rules under the Prevention of Money Laundering Act to strengthen the KYC norms, which means that the organization or the intermediaries which uses these cryptocurrencies or virtual digital assets have to strengthen the KYC norms with respect to the clients. So they have to verify the identity of the clients, and these verifications based on the client's Aadhaar, passport, PAN details or any other officially valid documents as suggested by the central government must be reported by the reporting entities under the PMLA. Now, another important aspect of the amendment is that the crypto exchanges or those intermediaries dealing in cryptocurrencies must report the suspicious transaction to Financial Intelligence Unit of India, one of the organizations other than the Enforcement Directorate which investigates cases of money laundering. So before going into these two important notifications issued by the Ministry of Finance, particularly Department of Revenue, first of all, let us understand some of the basics with respect to money laundering and also institutions which investigate cases of money laundering. So here, what is money laundering? It is the process of converting illegal profit or revenue of any organization, entity or individual into a legal one. So any illegal profit or revenue accruing to an organization, entity or individual is converted into a legal profit. This is referred as money laundering. So it says that money laundering is the process that criminals use in an attempt to hide their illegal source of their income. Now, by passing money through complex transfers and transactions or through a series of businesses, the money is cleaned of its illegitimate origin and made to appear as legitimate business profits. So basically the idea is to hide the illegality of the sources of income. Now here section 3 of Prevention of Money Laundering Act has defined offense of money laundering, and the important term here is proceeds of crime or anything associated with proceeds of crime. So it says that whosoever directly or indirectly attempts to indulge or knowingly assist or knowingly is a part or is actually involved in any process or activity connected with the proceeds of crime, including its concealment, possession, acquisition or use, and projecting or claiming it as untainted property, shall be guilty of offense of money laundering. Now, a person shall be guilty of money laundering if they are involved either directly or indirectly, specifically with respect to knowledge of any proceeds of crime, or they are directly or indirectly involved in one of the processes or activities connected with proceeds of crime, and these process or activity includes concealment of such proceeds of crime, possession of such proceeds of crime, acquisition, their use, projecting these proceeds of crime as untainted property, that is, which is legal. Now, another important aspect highlighted here is that the process or activity connected with proceeds of crime is a continuing activity and continues till such a time a person is directly or indirectly enjoying the proceeds of crime. So these are the meanings of offense of money laundering under the Prevention of Money Laundering Act. So when we talk about the objectives of Prevention of Money Laundering Act, it includes obviously to prevent money laundering through various activities, to combat and prevent channelization of money into illegal activities and economic crimes, to provide for confiscation of property derived from or such property which is involved in money laundering, and provide for any matter which is connected or incidental to the acts of money laundering. And the two authorities who have been entrusted investigation purposes under the Prevention of Money Laundering Act are the Enforcement Directorate and also the Financial Intelligence Unit India, that is FIUIND. So both these institutions investigate into aspects of money laundering under the PMLA and functions under the Department of Revenue of Ministry of Finance. Now FIU, that is Financial Intelligence Unit India, is an independent body reporting directly to the Economic Intelligence Council, which is headed by the Finance Minister. FIUIND is the central national agency and it is responsible for receiving, processing, analyzing and disseminating the information relating to suspect financial transactions. It is also responsible for coordinating and strengthening the efforts of national and international intelligence, investigations for pursuing the global efforts against money laundering and related crimes. Scheduled offences are separately investigated by agencies mentioned under respective acts, for example, local police, CBI, Custom Department, SEBI or any other investigative agency. So after understanding the basics of money laundering, the government has expanded the net of investigation with respect to transactions, administration and safekeeping of cryptocurrencies or other virtual digital assets. So in this regard, the government has issued two notifications with respect to regulation of these cryptocurrencies and virtual digital assets. So before going through this important notification with respect to regulating the transaction of virtual digital assets and cryptocurrencies, first of all, let us understand the meaning of virtual digital assets as has been provided or defined under Section 2, Clause 47A of Income Tax Act. So it says that virtual digital asset is any information or code or number or token which is not an Indian currency or a foreign currency generated through cryptographic means or otherwise, and these information or code or number or token provides a digital representation of valued exchange. So these information, code, number or token provides for digital representation of a valued exchange with or without consideration, that is with or without any price, with the promise or representation of having inherent value or functions as a store of value. So this digital representation of valued exchange also acts as store of value or a unit of account, including its use in any financial transaction or investment. So basically this digital representation of valued exchange, which has a store of value and it is also used as a unit for accounting purpose, is basically used in financial transaction or for any particular investment, but not limited to investment scheme, and can be transferred, stored or traded electronically. So these units or digital representation of valued exchange can be transferred, stored or traded in an electronic manner. Further, a virtual digital asset is a non-fungible token or any other token of similar nature. Now, non-fungible tokens are assets that have been tokenized via a blockchain. So basically, in non-fungible token, these are assets which are tokenized, that is a token system has been created through use of blockchain technology. They are assigned unique identification codes and metadata that distinguish them from one another. So these tokens are distinguished from one another through unique identification of these token. For example, token 1, token A, token Z, etc. Or virtual digital asset means any other digital assets as the central government can notify from time to time in the official gazette. So this is the meaning of virtual digital asset according to the Income Tax Act. And in this regard, the first notification by the Department of Revenue highlights about strengthening the regulation under the Prevention of Money Laundering Act with respect to exchange between virtual digital assets and fiat currencies, exchange between one or more forms of virtual digital assets, transfer of virtual digital assets, safekeeping or administration of virtual digital assets or instruments enabling over virtual digital assets, and participation in and provision of financial services related to issuers' offer and sale of a virtual digital asset. And the notification also highlights that virtual digital asset will have the same meaning as provided under Section 2, Subclause 47A of Income Tax Act 1961, which is this one. So I hope you understand the meaning of virtual digital asset as provided under the Income Tax Act, and transaction of these virtual digital asset has been regulated under the Prevention of Money Laundering Act. Now, the second notification of the Ministry of Finance provides for rules, that is Prevention of Money Laundering Maintenance of Record Amendment Rules 2023. And these rules have widened the scope of KYC norms to include politically exposed persons. Now, politically exposed persons are individuals who have been entrusted with prominent public functions by a foreign country, including being head of the state or government, being senior politicians, senior government or judicial or military officers, senior executives of state-owned corporations, and important political party officials. Next, the rules for KYC norms also includes non-profit organizations, that is, any entity or organization constituted for religious or charitable purposes as referred under the Income Tax Act, or any entity or organization that is registered as a trust or a society under the Societies Registration Act or any similar state legislation, or any company registered under Section 8 of the Companies Act, which provides for companies having charitable objects. Now, another important aspect with respect to politically exposed persons, the rule says that the PEPs will have to report transaction of rupees 10 lakh and above to the Financial Intelligence Unit. That is one of the unit which investigate cases under PMLA. The rules further mentions about records to be kept for 5 years after relation between client and reporting entity has ended. So here the rule says that every banking company or financial institution or any intermediary shall register the details of a client with respect to the KYC norms. And these details are to be registered on the Darpan portal of NITI Aayog and maintain such registration records for a period of 5 years after the business relationships between the client and the reporting entity has ended or the account has closed, whichever is later. Another important highlight is that updated documents have to be reported within 30 days. So it says that a client must submit to the reporting entity any update of any documents regarding updating the records to KYC norms within 30 days of such updation. And the notification also provides for a lowered threshold for ownership. So it says that the ownership threshold has been decreased from 25% to 10%, thereby treating any individual or group holding 10% ownership in a reporting entity as beneficial owner. So earlier, if an entity held 25% in any organization, only then that particular entity was supposed to be called the beneficial owner. But now this threshold of 25% has been lowered to 10%. So if any entity or organization holds 10% ownership in any organization, then under the PMLA shall be considered as a beneficial owner. And the lower ownership rules also applies to PEPs, that is politically exposed persons. So these are some of the important highlights with respect to the second notification with respect to Prevention of Money Laundering, Maintenance of Records, Amendment Rules 2023. Now, after going through the legal text with respect to the notification issued by Ministry of Finance, one should question as to why the government has issued these notifications regarding regulating the transaction of virtual digital assets. Now, as I've stated earlier, that post-COVID, we witnessed a surge in use of these cryptocurrencies. And some of these cryptocurrencies or virtual digital assets were also being misused through money laundering activities. So one of the main reasons for the issue of notification by Ministry of Finance is obviously to regulate increased transactions in virtual digital assets across the country, to prevent money laundering through virtual digital assets or other cryptocurrencies, as it has also been flagged by Financial Action Task Force. Another reason for these notifications is that these suspicious transactions in virtual digital assets or cryptocurrencies are reported to investigating authorities either by the reporting entities or other entities. As such, reporting will also regulate money laundering activities through these virtual digital assets or cryptocurrencies. Now, one of the report, that is brokerschooser.com, in 2021 highlighted that India has the highest number of crypto owners, followed by United States of America. So it's important to regulate the transaction administration and also safekeeping of these crypto assets. There are a number of cases in which the Enforcement Directorate is currently investigating cases with respect to crypto frauds, including money laundering. That is, money laundering is involved through use of cryptocurrencies or other digital assets. So there has been an increase in these crypto frauds. And so far till January 31st, 2023, amount worth Rs 936 crores have been frozen or attached with respect to money laundering as a part of the proceeds of crime. So these can be said to be some of the reasons as to why the Ministry of Finance has increased or tightened the grip over transactions of cryptocurrencies or virtual digital assets. Now, India's move at regulating transactions, administration and safekeeping of cryptocurrencies and virtual digital assets will also prove beneficial during the ongoing G20 summit, where India holds the presidency. And it will also motivate other countries to regulate transactions of virtual digital assets, as according to FATF, there has been increased use of these cryptocurrencies and other virtual digital assets by criminals and terrorists through money laundering activities. Thus, this news becomes important, particularly from the perspective of GS paper 3 under security. And also mains question was asked in 2021 in GS paper 3 regarding tackling the problem of money laundering. Now let's take up the next news appearing on page number 6. This news says a moment of reckoning for AUKUS and Australia. Now AUKUS is a security partnership between United States of America, United Kingdom and Australia. And this news highlights about the transfer of nuclear technology to Australia by United States and by United Kingdom. And this transfer of nuclear technology is with respect to nuclear power submarines. Now Australia says that it needs these nuclear power submarines as developing its deterrent capabilities. However, there are certain challenges, and these challenges not only are with respect to opposition by regional partners, namely Indonesia or even India, but also reservations have been shared by officials of United States, and some of them have even written to the President of United States not to sell the nuclear operated submarines to Australia, because of course it has security implication in the Indian Ocean region. So if you look at this particular map, here is Australia, and it intends to have these nuclear operated submarine in the Indian Ocean and also along the Pacific Ocean. And the purpose of providing nuclear operated submarines to Australia is to counter Chinese aggression in the region. However, even India is not very sure or confident with respect to nuclear powered submarines operating in the Indian Ocean, given the recent conflict between India and China on their borders. Now, with respect to Australia developing this deterrent capability through nuclear powered submarines, it also challenges the role of AUKUS as a security partnership, because the role of AUKUS differs as compared to Quad, which also involves United States and India. Now, based on this understanding, let's look into this question asked by UPSC in GS paper 2 in 2021. The question was, the newly tri-nation partnership AUKUS is aimed at countering China's ambitions in the Indo-Pacific region. Is it going to supersede the existing partnership in the region? So the existing partnership includes Quad, Five Eyes, etc. Discuss the strength and impact of AUKUS in the present scenario. So here we also need to understand the impact or challenges with respect to transfer of critical nuclear submarine technology to Australia by United States and United Kingdom, and also its impact upon India with respect to regional security, especially in the Indo-Pacific region. First of all, let us understand about AUKUS and Quad. Now, AUKUS is particularly a military alliance, and hence under AUKUS, United States of America is transferring the critical nuclear submarine technology to Australia. However, it is easier said than done because of the stringent control regimes in United States of America. It then says that AUKUS will deal specifically with the security and military situation in the Indo-Pacific region, whereas Quad focuses on the affairs of the whole world, and Quad is not a military alliance, it's rather a diplomatic alliance. And the full form of Quad is Quadrilateral Security Dialogue. So Quad is not a military alliance, but AUKUS is a military alliance, and sending these nuclear power submarines in the Indo-Pacific region might destabilize the region because it has been postured to counter Chinese aggression in the Indo-Pacific region. It further highlights that AUKUS is a pact to protect the Indo-Pacific from China's dominance and shield the post-1945 global order, whereas Quad has an agenda of its own that suits shared interest of all the members. Now, between AUKUS and Quad as a global grouping, US and Australia are the common factors here. So it says that both the groups have a common interest in protecting the Indo-Pacific region from China's dominance over other nations. Yet, the approaches are different. So the question which was asked by UPSC was that, is AUKUS going to supersede the existing partnership in the region? The answer is no. Discuss the strength and impact of AUKUS in the present scenario. So here, impact on existing partnership. AUKUS complements similar arrangement, but it does not replace Quad or Five Eyes or any other global groupings. So it highlights that AUKUS complements similar arrangements for the region, including the Five Eyes initiative, the ASEAN and the Quad initiative. It further says that in a multipolar world devoid of clear alliances, minilateral engagements like AUKUS does not necessarily overshadow the existing partnership like Quad or ASEAN because of the common agenda of free and open Indo-Pacific and Asian centrality. Also, the fact that impact on existing partnerships would depend upon the synergy and divergence between the members of this partnership. That is, it also depends on the bilateral engagement and divergence, for example, between Australia and United States, or for example, between India and Australia. Now, from your prelims perspective, Five Eyes is an intelligence grouping comprising Australia, Canada, New Zealand, United Kingdom and the United States. Quad comprises of Australia, India, Japan and United States, whereas AUKUS comprises of 3 countries, namely Australia, UK and United States of America. So please remember these groupings basically from your prelims perspective. Now, having talked about AUKUS and Quad, this article talks about various challenges which Australia might face with respect to transfer of nuclear power submarines to Australia, either from UK or from America. And these challenges are: first, such an arrangement might be opposed by regional partners such as Indonesia or even India. Secondly, it states that officials in US are not keen to sell nuclear submarines to Australia, as they have highlighted various security concerns not only in the Indo-Pacific region but also for America as well. The third reason highlighted is that India is also not confident about sailing of these nuclear powered submarines in the Indian Ocean region. The fourth reason highlighted here is that such an arrangement might jeopardize regional security, particularly in the Indo-Pacific, and it might antagonize China, which then would become more aggressive. The fifth challenge is with respect to Australia acquiring similar nuclear power submarines from United Kingdom, namely the ballistic missile submarines, which is the Astute class submarines of UK. Now, the concerns highlighted here is integration of Astute class submarines with the fleet of Australia and United States. So it says that such an integration would be difficult to achieve. The sixth challenges highlighted is with respect to the transfer of technology, particularly nuclear technology, to have nuclear power submarine. So it says that there is possibility that because of such difficulty with respect to transfer of nuclear power submarine, the AUKUS countries may come together and develop an AUKUS class nuclear submarine. However, there again, the transfer of technology from United States will not be that easy, and this transfer of technology from US might prove to be a deterrent. in order to develop a joint nuclear class submarine, even the United States of America has to reform its export control regime. An exception has to be provided under the International Traffic in Arms Regulation. The seventh challenge is transfer of nuclear technology will be difficult, especially under international system, where transfer of nuclear technology is also safeguarded or regulated under IAEA. And this is also because for nuclear power submarines, high enriched uranium fuel reactors are used, and their transfer is heavily regulated by IAEA, especially for those countries who are part of NPT or Non-Proliferation Treaty. Now, another challenge highlighted here is specifically with respect to India, as India will also face problems with respect to acquiring nuclear propulsion technology, that is having a nuclear powered submarine from other countries, especially those countries which are part of NPT. As the news highlights that India is not party to NPT, and hence transfer of nuclear technology from an NPT country might become difficult. Now, talking about NPT, that is Treaty on Non-Proliferation of Nuclear Weapons. So the objective is to prevent the spread of nuclear weapons and weapons technology, and also to promote cooperation in peaceful uses of nuclear energy and to further the goal of achieving nuclear disarmament and general and complete disarmament. Next, it highlights about binding commitment, where it says that the treaty represents the only binding commitment in a multilateral treaty to the goal of disarmament by nuclear weapon states. Next, the treaty is considered as a cornerstone for nuclear disarmament. So it says that it is regarded as a cornerstone of the global nuclear non-proliferation regime and an essential foundation for the pursuit of nuclear disarmament. And this treaty has been designed to prevent the spread of nuclear weapons to further the goals of nuclear disarmament. And this overall will help to promote cooperation in the peaceful uses of nuclear energy. Further, NPT also provides for safeguard mechanisms through IAEA. So it says that to further the goal of non-proliferation and as a confidence building measure between state parties, the NPT establishes a safeguard system under the responsibility of the International Atomic Energy Agency. And safeguards are used to verify compliance with the treaty through inspections conducted by IAEA. And the NPT treaty also promotes cooperation in the field of peaceful nuclear technology and equal access to this technology for all state parties, while safeguards prevent the diversion or transfer of fissile material for weapons use. So this treaty, that is NPT, might act as a deterrent or a barrier for transfer of nuclear technology for nuclear power submarine. Now, after understanding about NPT, let's go through the strengths, positive and negative impact of AUKUS. Strength of AUKUS is that this is the first of its kind of military alliance in the Indo-Pacific region, and it assures the regional partners. Further, this is a shot in the arm for larger Indo-Pacific agenda by the three countries, namely Australia, US and UK, and in a way, AUKUS fills the vacuum which has been created by reluctance of Quad, as Quad does not want to be seen as anti-China military alliance. Coming to the positive aspect of AUKUS, it augments the aim of Quad of countering Chinese ambition. It is useful in responding to any military provocation by China, clarifies the role of big powers in the Indo-Pacific region, namely the United States and the United Kingdom, augments defense capabilities of Australia in countering China, and makes Quad grouping relatively more palatable to ASEAN. Whereas the negative impact of AUKUS is that it in a way sidelines the role and importance of France and also discourages consensus on the larger issue of rise of China. Another negative impact, particularly for India, is that it reduces the space for Quad by becoming the military alliance, and also in a way reduces the space for India. So it highlights that it shrinks the potential space available for Quad and also for India to play a serious role in the region's security architecture. Further, militarization of the Indo-Pacific region will lead to arms race in the region and might disturb the overall peace in the area, and it will make it difficult for many ASEAN countries which wants to remain neutral and does not want to antagonize China. So these can be said to be some of the negative aspects of AUKUS. So overall, we can say that AUKUS, by becoming a military alliance, has in a way helped Quad and has forwarded India's quest for a free and open Indo-Pacific, and in a way has also shown that India does not want to counter China, especially through Quad. Thus, this news becomes important mainly from the perspective of GS Paper 2 under International Relations under the subheading of Global Groupings and its impact on India or India's interest. Now let's take up this important news appearing on page number 10. This news says that help cow shelters market dung-based formulations for farming as per NITI Aayog. So earlier, a task force was constituted by NITI Aayog to suggest measures to make Gaushalas economically viable, that is cow shelters, and also address the problems of stray and abandoned cattle and effective utilization of cow dung and cow urine in agriculture and energy sectors. So now the NITI Aayog has come up with this report, namely the production and promotion of organic and biofertilizers with special focus on improving economic viability of Gaushalas. So in this news analysis, let us understand about this particular report and also about organic and biofertilizers. So this report highlights that Gaushalas or cow shelters can become major suppliers of inputs for natural farming in the country through concerted efforts of the government, private players and entrepreneurs. So it also talks about participation of other stakeholders including private players and also entrepreneurs. And in this regard, the report also highlights that the Gaushalas offer vast potential for production of organic and biofertilizer including biopesticides, thereby mandating the aspect of circular economy, which aims at reusing the product rather than wasting the product. So NITI Aayog in its report has stated that cattle were an integral component of the traditional farming system in India, and Gaushalas are of great help in promoting natural farming and also organic farming. Now this report says that cow dung and cow urine, which are agricultural inputs, can replace the chemicals or fertilizers which is heavily used in agriculture. And this will not only serve the nutrient aspects of the plant, but will also have an impact on economic, health, environmental and sustainability aspects. So it says that the effective utilization of cattle waste is an ideal example of circular economy that harnessed waste to wealth concept. That is the idea of reusage of the waste. Now this report released by NITI Aayog on biofertilizers and special focus on improving the economic viability of Gaushalas gets covered under GS Paper 3 with respect to economic development under transport and marketing of agricultural produce and issues and related constraints. So let us understand about organic and biofertilizers both from our prelims and mains perspective. So comparing organic fertilizers with biofertilizers, organic fertilizers are substances made of one or more unprocessed materials of a biological nature, that is maybe plant or animal, and may include unprocessed mineral materials that have been altered through microbiological decomposition process. So the decomposition taking place here is natural or biological. On the other hand, biofertilizers are different from organic fertilizers. So it says that biofertilizers are defined as a product containing carrier-based solid or liquid living microorganisms. So please remember, in organic fertilizer, there is no carrier-based living microorganism, which is in the case of biofertilizers. And these microorganisms are agriculturally useful in terms of nitrogen fixation, phosphorus solubilization or nutrient mobilization, and all of this helps to increase the productivity of soil or crop. Now, organic fertilizers are composted or fermented products made from organic waste such as any kind of waste including city waste, agro waste, crop residue, livestock waste, food processing industry waste, etc. Now, composting is referred to a controlled aerobic process that converts organic materials into nutrient-rich soil or mulch through natural decomposition. And organic fertilizers are specified under the Fertilizer Control Order of 1985 and has been classified into different categories of organic fertilizers. Now talking about biofertilizers, which contains carrier-based living microorganisms. So it says that upon application to seed or soil, these microbial preparations multiply rapidly around emerging crop roots and fix or mobilize nutrients from air and soil, and also from unavailable form to available form. Now in the biofertilizers, there is also nutrient solubilizers, that solubilizes the nutrients, namely phosphorus, potassium or zinc solubilizers. And this transform insoluble nutrients present in the soil to soluble form for easy uptake by the crop plants. So basically those minerals which are not easily soluble, these living microorganisms in the biofertilizers solubilizes or transform insoluble nutrients present in the soil to soluble nutrient or soluble form. So these are some of the basic differences between organic fertilizers and biofertilizers. Now biofertilizers are available in 4 different forms, namely nitrogen fixers, that it helps in nitrogen fixation, phosphorus solubilizers, potassium solubilizers and zinc and other micronutrient solubilizers. So these solubilizers helps to dissolve those essential nutrients. Now talking about regulation of organic and biofertilizers. So it says that organic and biofertilizers are regulated by the Fertilizer Inorganic, Organic or Mixed Control Order, referred as FCO 1985, under the Union Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare. And currently there are 11 biofertilizers and 10 organic fertilizers which have been approved under the FCO. Now question in your mains examination can be asked with respect to need to promote both organic and biofertilizers or either of them, and also challenges in promoting these organic or biofertilizers. So let's go through this aspect which can be asked in your mains examination. So talking about need to promote organic and biofertilizers, the first point highlighted is with respect to sustainable agriculture, as these organic and chemical-free agriculture can reverse environmental bad effects or ill effects like groundwater depletion and loss of biodiversity, as these are mainly caused due to overuse of chemical fertilizers and also pesticides after Green Revolution. There is also need to promote these organic and biofertilizers and get rid of chemical-induced fertilizers, because nutrient runoff from farms laced with chemical fertilizers adversely impacts land ecosystem and it also affects the water quality. It further says that ammonia emissions from agricultural activities can combine with vehicle exhaust or vehicle emission to create dangerous particulates in air and increase respiratory diseases. Further, use of chemical fertilizers also significantly increases greenhouse gas emissions. The next reason to promote organic and biofertilizers are to promote soil health. Now we know that use of chemical fertilizers is depleting the quality and organic matter of the Indian soil, and nutritional quality of food produced from the present quality of soil is also poor in terms of organic matter, and it is also poor for the health. So it says that organic and biofertilizers conserve the microfauna of soil and act as a natural surface purifier. So it basically improves the quality of soil also. It further says that dung manure contains basic elements critical to plant health, namely nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium and several micronutrients. Further, humus in dung manure act as soil amender and preserve moisture in the soil. Now humus refers to dark organic matter in the soil which is formed by decomposition of plant and animal matter. Further application of organic and biofertilizers will lead to sustainability of agriculture as well. Now coming to the other points for need to promote bio and organic fertilizers. The third point is incomes for farmers and Gaushalas. So it says that promoting the use of cow dung manure will improve economy of Gaushalas, support natural farming and improve sustainability of agriculture. It will also improve incomes for farmers and Gaushalas. The next point is that it will address the problem of stray cattle. So it says that promoting use of cow and animal waste based organic and biofertilizers will also address the issue of stray cattle, which has led to big menace in rural areas. The next point is that it will sustainably help to address the issue of waste management, especially in rural areas, by production of bio and organic fertilizers from animal waste such as cow dung. The next point highlighted is that increasing use of bio and organic fertilizers will help to reduce the input cost of farming and is expected to increase the income of farmers in the long run. The next point is that it will help the government to reduce expenditure on fertilizer subsidy. So it says that fertilizer subsidy alone accounts for more than 1.5 lakh crores per year for the government, and this increases the fiscal deficit of the government. So use of biofertilizer and organic fertilizer will help to reduce this subsidy burden, and it will also promote the use of bio and organic fertilizers. And lastly, it will reduce dependency of import of fertilizers from other countries. So it says that most chemical fertilizers have to be imported in India, as India lacks domestic sources of phosphorus, potassium and urea. And this dependence on imports for chemical fertilizers exposes Indian agriculture to supply chain constraints. So greater dependence on bio and organic fertilizer will also improve our own fertilizer supply domestically, and it will also help to reduce import dependence on chemical fertilizers. So these can be said to be some of the reasons to promote both organic and bio fertilizers. Now coming to the part of challenges in use of these biofertilizers, and the first challenge is highlighted is with respect to heavy subsidy burden given on chemical fertilizers. So it basically acts as a disincentive for the farmers to shift to biofertilizers. Thus, these heavy subsidies on chemical fertilizers, especially urea, discourage the use of uptake of organic fertilizers and also biofertilizers, which do not get any subsidy at all. The second point highlighted here is limited research and development in the field of organic and biofertilizers. So this also limits the applicability or usage of these biofertilizers and also organic fertilizers. The third point highlighted here is lack of regional resource center for the supply of authentic and efficient microbial strains necessary for biofertilizers. So these regional resource centers should be supplied with authentic and efficient microbial strains. The next point highlighted is regarding lack of awareness among farmers with respect to usage of biofertilizers for proper preservation, subculturing, storage, and procurement of authentic microbial strains suitable for local environmental conditions. Now, subculturing is a process to transfer microorganism into fresh nutritive medium from its stock culture, and subculturing is done to maintain culture in its active form for varied applications, or prolonging the life or increasing the number of cells of the organism. The sixth point is absence of economically viable mass production system of these biofertilizers and organic fertilizers, which would have helped in lowering the selling cost of these biofertilizers. So since there is no viable mass production system, hence the price of these biofertilizers are very high. The seventh point is inadequate funds are spent on the promotion of bio and organic fertilizers despite various schemes for their promotion. The eighth point highlighted is with respect to lack of suitable infrastructure and also lack of funds provided under various schemes of the government. So it highlights that infrastructure support funds provided under schemes like the Capital Investment Subsidy Scheme and Soil Health Management have not seen much uptake in states, and these funds remains underutilized. It further says that Gaushalas and farmers cannot market compost and other organic fertilizer produced by them, and there is no organized market and buyer for their produce. So there is lack of infrastructure and also lack of platform to promote usage of these biofertilizers and also organic fertilizers. The ninth point highlighted is lack of extension and awareness on the use benefits of organic and biofertilizers, especially among the farming communities. And the 10th point is regarding issues with respect to regulation of these organic and biofertilizers. So here it says that FCO, that is Fertilizer Control Order, does not list some bio and organic fertilizers prepared from livestock waste, such as Panchagavya, Lasagavya, sheep and goat manure, poultry manure, Sanjeevak, Gokripa Amrut, Amrit Pani, fermented curd water, crystallized cow urine, etc. The next regulatory concerns mention about lack of testing facilities and personnel and also certification for organic and biofertilizer in states have further slowed market prospects for manufacturers of organic fertilizers. And the third regulatory concern is that as of now, the regulatory process for bio and organic fertilizers in different states differs. So there is a need for uniformity with respect to the regulatory aspect of certification with respect to biofertilizers and also organic fertilizers. So after the concerns, what we need is a way forward with respect to these concerns. And as a way forward, government should not only improve the infrastructure but also ensure uniform regulatory mechanism, particularly with respect to different states, for certification and other regulatory aspects with respect to biofertilizers and organic fertilizers. Further, the government also needs to develop a proper infrastructure to promote and also sell these biofertilizers. So here the point mentions as a way forward, it's digitization of the whole process of manufacturing, licensing, and also sale authorization to a dealer, stock records and maintenance, including timely sampling by an inspector according to the fertilizer control order with time-bound consultation with states. So there is a need to digitize the entire process of manufacturing, providing license and also authorization to dealer so that they can sell these biofertilizers and organic fertilizers. The next point as a way forward is that parity between inorganic and bio and organic fertilizers needs to be maintained, as this parity will also help cow farmers and cowshed owners to earn extra income. And the third point as a way forward is with respect to the need of marketing of these bio and organic fertilizers. So here it mentions that the public sector fertilizer distribution agencies like IFFCO, Krishak Bharati Cooperative Limited and state level agricultural cooperatives should be mandated to market standardized bio and organic fertilizers. Further, a mechanism should be established to mandate fertilizer selling and manufacturing agencies to sell inorganic and organic fertilizers. Further, there is also need for proper policy support both at central and state level to encourage commercial production, packaging, marketing and also distribution of cow dung based organic fertilizers, including brand development of these cow dung based organic fertilizers. And even gram panchayats at the local level should be involved in the production of organic and biofertilizers at cow sheds. The fourth point as a way forward mentions about expanding the scope of Fertilizer Control Order of 1985. So it says that this 1985, which is an old order, should be amended to include livestock waste fertilizers such as Panchgavya. Adequate testing facility should be created for manufacturers of organic and biofertilizers. Further, there is a need to undertake quality certification of bio and organic fertilizers, as this will also help the farmers to identify safe and certified products. Further, there is a need for uniformity in the regulatory process, accommodating state specificities across India for registration and marketing of bio and organic fertilizers. The fifth point highlighted as a way forward is that the government should come up with certain incentives to encourage production and consumption of bio and organic fertilizers. So it mentions that there is a need for extension of subsidy or market development assistance for biofertilizer in line with city compost at rupees 1500 per ton. Further, the fertilizer company should be mandated to take 10 to 20% of bio and organic fertilizers to be sold in the market. So it mentions about mandatory 10 to 20% offtake of bio and organic fertilizer by fertilizer companies. It then mentions about viability gap funding to be provided to capital assistance and marketing of cow dung and cow urine based formulations for application in agriculture, attracting the private sector to invest in mass scale production of organic and biofertilizers, biopesticides, soil enriching products and also stimulants for use in agriculture. Now, viability gap funding is designed to provide capital support to public-private partnership projects which would not otherwise be financially viable. The next point as a way forward is with respect to research and development. Here it says that there is a need to improve efficiency of different formulations of organic and biofertilizers, and this can be only done when more research takes place in this particular field of organic and biofertilizer. It further highlights that Indian Council of Agricultural Research and other institutions should be encouraged to research organic and biofertilizers, And these institutions should be encouraged to carry extension among farmers to take over bio and organic fertilizers. So the need is not only for increased research and development, but also to carry the fruit of research and development to the farmers so that they can better understand the usage and its benefits of organic and biofertilizers. So these are the 6 points provided under the report as a way forward with respect to use of biofertilizers and also organic fertilizers. So in this article, we have tried to understand the importance of biofertilizers and organic fertilizers, the benefits of biofertilizers and organic fertilizers, the challenges which these fertilizers face, and also a way forward which has been provided under this very important report of NITI Aayog. And this topic gets covered under GS paper 3 with respect to the aspect of agricultural produce. So with this, we come to an end to today's discussion. Thank you for watching DNS. And in case you have not registered yourself for the pre-parikshan test, then please register yourself, as the date for the examination is 18th and 19th March 2023. Thank you very much.